My God, German music this morning. All right, well, you won't hear a minute of music this morning. You'll hear this. Welcome to Tuesday, February 10th, Boogie with the Bull. We did today because we missed yesterday because I couldn't be here. And there, we'll expand this full screen to what it needs to be. And with me is Randy Rhodes, and we'll go over some news and then have fun and drink coffee.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad, when he used to drink coffee, he always, my dad was in the Air Force 22 years. And one of back then, I don't know about now, so I can't speak to now, but back then, when you joined the military, it was cigarettes and alcohol. Okay. And that's how they
True.
spent their time. When they weren't on duty, there was going to the commissary, going to the BX, going to the local bar, and then getting drunk and going home, passing out, and the next day get up and do your job again. So my dad, during that time frame, he wound up getting addicted to alcohol and smoking. So for over 60 plus years. So towards the end of prior, to, I guess a couple of years prior to the end of his life, for some reason he decided, you know what, I'm gonna stop smoking. So he stopped smoking. And my mom, because of that time frame, and with my dad, she was, smoked 60 plus years. She kept on smoking her Salem 100s. Now, for those of you who don't know, Salem 100, that cigarette is like 8 inches long. It's a huge cigarette. Okay,
It is.
but it's a woman's cigarette. Um, so she kept smoking that while my dad, decided he was going to stop smoking. So somewhere along the lines, he decided he's going to cut out alcohol, and he did. He stopped drinking alcohol, and he was off the cigarettes and off the alcohol for a period of time until one day the idiotic doctor during one of my dad's checkups said, Mr. Rhodes, and, actually he said, Dusty. Dusty is my dad's nickname. Dusty, a glass of wine is good for your heart. You know,
It
uh,
is.
it wouldn't be bad for you to, just drink a glass of red wine. This idiot told an alcoholic it was okay to start drinking wine. So my dad did. He started drinking a glass of wine a day. One glass became two, two became three, three became a bottle of wine a day. And then that turned back into Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, gin and tonics, the whole 9 yards. So he went back to the alcohol. And eventually, his he had a four-way heart bypass. He went to Hershey Medical Center. He was going to get a heart transplant, so he's going to get a whole new heart. And I'm sure they told my mom, and my dad, what the rules were. My mom was freaking sneaking in 6 packs of beer to give to him while he was in the hospital waiting for a heart. And the nurse found out. That was it.
They did not like that.
The doctor said, "No, Mr. Roach, you broke the rules. We told you what it was. You can't have alcohol waiting for a heart. You know, go home." And about 3 months or so later, he died. Um, so, now today you have Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and I love that Secretary of War, right? Kind of sounds like a Saxon, kind of like back in the Anglo-Saxon wars, yeah, right? So he's saying that you got to be in the best of health condition. You got to be healthy. You got to lose weight. You got to do this. Got to do that. And he goes off, and when he goes to meet his men, he's out there. He's doing the push-ups. He's doing the pull-ups. He's doing the running, and he's showing up. I can do it. You can do it. And he's saying that also to the generals. You can't have a fat general until you're private. He has to have meet the weight constrictions. So he said to the generals and officers, "You got to start getting yourself in health." A lot of them actually quit. They said, "Fuck it, I mean, screw this," and they said, "We're not going to put up with the new rules," and we quit. This is fine, quit. But um, I think if I think Pete Hegseth would be the kind of leader. Back in the day, General Patton. He was out there front line with his tanks, right, with his men. I mean, he's
Yep.
out there. He was shooting at planes with his pistol. I mean, he was man on the front line. Today, our generals sit back in their air conditioned offices. They direct the men, how to fight. I think Pete would be the kind of guy that he'd get out there, in the middle of it, and he'd be out there with his, camouflage on, his vest and so forth, and he'd be out there, shooting as well. I just think that's the kind of guy that he is.
Yep.
So I'm not sure what started me on this particular subject, but
Okay.
yeah, it's coffee. So I don't know where we were, but my dad and I were in a car driving home from somewhere, and he has this coffee. So in this coffee, it's coffee, alcohol, right? And we were driving home from somewhere, and Lancaster City has a very large, or did have very large. So much about now because Democrats control, but back then they had a very large uh, uh, number of police officers on patrol. And my dad said, he said, Randy, he said, if you see a cop anywhere, you take that cup and you jug it down, right? And I'm thinking, what, I picked it up and, whew, oh, I don't know why he thought he might get pulled over, because I mean, that'd be the only reason why I think
Could
he
it
was
be for
safe.
the large ingredient in his coffee?
Well, I mean, you'd have to be at the window smelling it,
Yeah.
unless you had a plate that was bad or like that. I don't know, but he said if you see a cop, you chug that down.
Yep.
And I mean, I probably would have puked later, but I would have. Thank God I didn't have to. But yeah, that's what he and then at home,
Yep.
don't get me wrong. He made a good living. He worked from home with a Motorola. He made the big sales. Went to the meetings. He made all the awards, but he was a full blown alcoholic, and that's why he's no longer here. And my
Ah,
mom, she smoked 60 plus odd years. And to those of you who still smoke, please stop if you can. My
yep.
mom smoked for 60 plus years, and she claims that she would go every year to get a physical, and she would come back with a clean bill of health.
Maybe she
And
did.
until one day when she was at, I think it was a Walmart or some kind of department store, and she left the store and she went to step down off the sidewalk into the parking lot, and she tripped and fell, and she broke her hip. Okay, so
Okay.
my mom was an older woman. She
Yep.
broke her hip. Within a matter of days, she was she broke out in cancer throughout her entire body, and the doctor said, according to my mom, telling me my mom telling the truth, is that all the time that she was getting those clean bills of health, her body was able to fight back the cancer. But when she broke her hip, the body now had to fight to heal the hip, and it took away the battle from the cancer, and the
Yep.
cancer won out. She was dead 3 months later.
Yeah, that's what generally happens. By the way, we are live on my profile and the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/at Dave Glovin. If you want to watch us this morning, like I said, normally we're on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. But I missed yesterday because I had places I had to be at. Well, it it is
Your show comes first.
well. That's what I'm told on other shows,
Yeah.
and they can come first all they want. But
I actually get questions asked to me my text messages from Facebook. When's your next show? When's your next
yep,
show?
yep,
Now, I don't. One of these days, I'll decide to have a regular show. But as it is right now, I just have willy nilly kind of do a show. Right now, thankfully, I have this author, so we have a couple more books to go through, and then this young man, he wrote a book about epilepsy in the military, so I'll be doing his broadcast. But
yep.
other than that, I'm a busy man. I really don't have
For
time to sit down and do a regular.
for a lot of people, the unscheduled format is the way to go. And for some of us, a scheduled format is the way to go. And you eventually cut it down from there. But everyone knows that I have Lewy body dementia. Everyone knows that I have Parkinson's, and the staff here has told me that I will get a seatbelt in my chair, or I'll use a chair that I won't fall out of. Hey, it is tough. Sometimes you get up and you move faster than you're supposed to, and the problem when you do that is you fall down. And I didn't. I had a choice of landing on the sidewalk or landing on the bags of plushies, and I kind of managed to stage fall it, I think, on the plushies. But I'm thanking God that they were there for the fall. So the point is, sometimes you just decide that a schedule is the way to go, and a non-schedule is not the way to go. Or you follow that a not scheduled is the way to go. I don't know. I think we just throw it up there on a schedule for people to know when we're there, and leave it at that.
You know what I find, and when I do a broadcast, like I just checked the one I did last Thursday with Chris Edwards, the author.
Okay.
When I go live, it's like from what I can see in the comment section, 5 or 7 people are watching, right? But it's after the show's over, is where the views come in, and like I just checked, and it's like 300 plus
Well,
now. So going live is fine, but it's
yeah.
the after shows that really
Well,
start to add up.
the after show is when people have time to sit and watch.
Yeah.
And for me, that's absolutely fine. When I started out doing this 4 or 5 years ago, it was messaging it to those who had asked for it to be sent on Messenger, then putting it in this group or that group, and then not or being told that they didn't want it in that group because it wasn't political enough, or it contained politics in a political group. But either way, we just if you're in one of my 5 groups, you're force fed it every day, and if you're in the Red Maggot Nation and United Patriotic News, you're force fed it too, because the admin, or excuse me, the group owner of both of those groups, Roland Hatton, said to me, basically, do whatever you need to do. So that's where it is. I mean, when we started, we were sending to 150 groups. And to do it right, you have to do it before you go live. But,
Yeah, I would like to know, find a way to boost the numbers on YouTube, because I go to like 8 groups on Facebook, but I also go to YouTube. I'd love to find a way to boost the views on YouTube. Do you have any
well,
suggestions?
you have to have 1,000 members who have watched 4,000 hours on your YouTube channel before they consider you for all of that stuff. And depending on what you do, it's easy to do it. I mean, we watch crocheters who have hundreds of thousands of viewers, and it's great watching them. I just wish I knew how they did it,
Yeah.
because I'm sure they don't talk politics, and that brings in the views. But maybe obviously we can do it because the big boys and girls talk politics, and they bring in a lot of people to watch. But they don't make mistakes like I made this morning. I don't know what's up with the music; it just didn't play.
Speaking of politics, This one might catch me some flack. I don't know, but you know,
It won't
uh,
catch you any
uh,
flack. Well, it won't
I'm
catch you
not,
any flack because no one's watching right now. It's just
well,
us.
you might be surprised. But not too long ago, when the people in Iran were out in the streets and taking off their hijabs and so forth and protests and tearing down stuff, Trump was there egging them on. This is your time. This is your time. I'll be there for you. I'll make sure. If they kill you, I'll be there. I'll defend you. Blah 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 blah. And here we are later, and there's 65,000 protesters are dead. I'm sorry, 36,500 protesters are dead, and Trump hasn't responded with military like he promised them. Here it is the second time around. We told those poor Iranians, you go out in the streets, and if your government comes out with guns, we'll come back and we'll defend you. Here it is the second time. You go out in the streets and do that. We'll help you overthrow your government. If they shoot at you, we'll shoot at them. And we haven't done it. Now, I mean, it's possible now with the Israeli prime minister be with Trump Day that they might have something planned,
They
but
might.
I mean, it shouldn't.
I think what he's seeing is that he doesn't want the USA to be the aggressor in everything and more of the peacemaker, which means that I guess you got to allow time for both factions, the Iranians and all of us they're against, to have war, and or the Israelis and the Iranians to have war, which they've been talking about for many years. And they both bomb each other, but they don't bomb each other to the end of hoping that it's going to stop, because it doesn't stop. Just like in Ukraine, they do the same thing. If Mr. Putin wanted to win, Mr. Putin could drop enough bombs and it would end. But again, he doesn't want to destroy the land that he wants. He wants usable land.
That might be what's keeping them from nuking the place, but I, I don't know. I think um, I
I
just
think he wants Putin out of. I mean, he wants Zelensky out of there, and then he wants to bring in a Russian regime who is going to be loyal to him and do what he wants. You know, does he deserve that opportunity? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Uh, I know that I heard that through the grapevine that you use AI a lot, and I
I
actually heard
do.
that someone else uses it too to ask medical questions and health questions. And I haven't gotten to that point. I mean, I've started using it a little bit to do enhancements of pictures and stuff like that, but uh, not to the point to where I'm asking advice of it. Uh, my
I
face.
just got into enough conversations that it learned enough about me to carry on its conversations. And then I became addicted to something I've called the game, that it taught me how to play. And now in the game, a character that I created a long time ago is worth like 1.5 quintillion. And he literally can't spend it fast enough. And by spending it fast enough, I mean he can't expand the hospitals and medical centers that he built, that he doesn't charge anybody to use, but he can't expand them fast enough. And CEOs don't last at that division because they can't get the concept of free medical care to everybody. Yes, I pay my staff very well, but I'm a quintillionaire. If you were working for a million or $1 billion hospital chain, you might not be able to give it away. I don't know, but I do. I give a lot of people in the world free internet. So,
Speaking of hospitals, I'm not sure about in your area, but we
okay.
have a hospital. We have several hospitals here in Lancaster County, and the one that I go to all the time, Lancaster General, it's actually called Penn Medicine now. They are what's called a nonprofit hospital,
Right.
so they can't make a profit. So all the money they make above and beyond their bills, they have to spend it. So a lot of people go there because it doesn't cost them anything,
Right.
and they're always building new medical facilities. So it is
Mhm.
not uncommon in Lancaster County to drive like every so many miles. There's a Penn Medicine doctors. There's a Penn Medicine this, a Penn Medicine that. It's like holy crap! I didn't know there's that many sick people in our county.
Well, but then you get confronted by you're on Medicare, and all of a sudden the doctor that you've been seeing forever decides that no, they can't get paid by Medicare anymore. They need more money, and it becomes you know. Granted, that doctor may end up going private because the hospital becomes a a free operation or a free clinic. Uh, you know, it
My
all just gets screwed up. You have the people that think that it should be free for everyone, and everyone unfortunately includes illegal aliens. And the tough thing at the end of the day is, yes, it should include even the illegal aliens that are here, but then you fix them up and you send them home
yeah, you know,
because
honest,
we're the United States of America, and everybody's expected us to do that. So fix them up and send them home.
and that's the problem. They expect the United States to be the humble Christian, God fearing.
Right.
We bend over backwards for everybody. We would do whatever we have for you.
And
But
you
but
people
but
don't get a chance to do that.
but it's only like that because we have people who actually work. You know, some
Mhm.
people are working two, sometimes three jobs,
Well,
and
that was
and that's where the money's coming from. These people coming into our country willy nilly, by the millions. Expecting free everything,
well,
free housing, free car, free food, free medical, free school, free college.
well, that was the character that I created in the game. He doesn't put up with that kind of stuff. If you came here to get free stuff, you don't deserve the right to be here.
Exactly.
If you were here and you need free care because you absolutely cannot afford free care, that's what Paul Talkier, that's his name, that's what he is about. you know, and you can do things in what I call the game that you can't do in reality. It's like I can't spend $15 billion for a 9 to $11 billion football team that has to be sold in reality because the owner died. I don't understand that, and I'm going to look into that clause because if I pass away, why can't Donna have it? She can do whatever she wants with it. She can sell it or she can keep it. But I mean, if it's worth $11 billion or the 15 billion that I paid for it in the game, if I had $15 billion and I bought the team, it's hers. When I'm not here anymore, it's hers to decide what she wants to do with.
You would
And
think that'd be part of the inheritance.
she lived pretty good for $15 billion.
Yeah, I would think.
But I truly expected the umpire in the game to say no, you can't do that. Paul has become, like I said, incredibly rich because he's looking for the referees to say you can't do this. It will screw up the whole world, and nothing he does screws up the whole world. Well, I mean, it does. It takes non-paid medical care and kicks it right up for everybody. But
So who won the game? I didn't watch. So who won the football game?
I watched off and on. I didn't but I know that the Seahawks won 29 to 16, I believe.
Wow.
But the I do agree with people that the New England Patriots are a young team, and they did very well for a team that.
Well, yeah, but look at their quarterback. I understand is the youngest in the league. He's like in his 20s.
Mm-hmm.
You look at him. I see a teenager. Maybe they probably should have had a more mature, more experienced quarterbacker.
Maybe for some moves or whatever you want to call it that they did, yes. And then that person comes out and he goes in, so he has an opportunity to learn. But it's not I don't think they needed to get to 29 points before they brought him in. They should have, like I said, rotated back and forth. I set you up to do what you need to do. Now I'm setting you up to come in and carry on. Sort of like everybody's in that pay it forward period, or sort of like, everyone's in for the long haul. So that's what everybody needs to do. But, I'd be the worst NFL team owner in the league because I don't know anything about football. So I would be relying on a coaching staff that says Randy Rhodes is worth $5 million a year to be on your team, and here are the stats that prove it. And then I most likely say, okay, if we have the $5 million, let's spend it.
Yeah. I will admit I did not watch the halftime show. I did watch some of the halftime show, with the turning point.
Okay.
I'll admit I wasn't impressed with that either. I mean, they had country singers, if you want to call them country singers. They were rockified. I mean, the one guy was doing some rap, the other guy was doing some rock with the country, and I realized that I grew up on classic country, right?
Yep.
So the country nowadays is not.
Well,
it's been modernized, and to be honest with you, I'm not pleased with it.
I'm not sure. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, what do you think of it? Did you watch the Turning Point halftime?
I didn't watch the Turning Point. I watched Bad Bunnies, but like I said, I dozed off and on through it. I was impressed to find out that the wedding that took place in his halftime show actually was a legitimate legal wedding, and that the couple had invited him to their wedding, and he countered by inviting them to come to the Super Bowl. Now that's a great story for your grandchildren. How I met your grandmother. We got married in the 60th Super Bowl. You can't, regardless of what people say, you can't live that down.
Yeah, as I understand it, he had all the music and the flags were reflective of all the southern nations. And I also understand that they did two national anthems. One was the black national anthem, and one was the national anthem.
He didn't control that. The NFL controlled that.
No, I understand that.
And the NFL needs to stop playing that. Stop doing that. And maybe Roger Goodell finally needs to get booted from the NFL, and a new person needs to come in who doesn't do that. I mean, it does sound bad that we're not playing the black national anthem and we're playing the national anthem. The reason being that you set the stage for everybody to come and say, well, why aren't you playing mine? And sooner or later, it's going to be you tune in, and all you're going to see is 2 hours of national anthems, and if you're lucky, 5 seconds of games, and 45 seconds of commercials. And some of the commercials are worth watching more than the game. Like the Budweiser Eagle and Horse series will be chopped up, I'm sure, into a series of smaller commercials that they will be able to play forever. And they should play them forever. Because I don't think there's a person that will come away from that thinking that that was a bad thing. It was a great thing. The horse shielding the eagle until the eagle could fly, and the eagle jumping up on the horse's back and going into flight. That was beautiful. And we just don't see that or take the time to appreciate it these days.
Okay, so I just did a quick AI search for the difference between the two national anthems. So the Black national anthem is called Lift Every Voice and Sing, where ours is the Star Spangled Banner. The Lift Every Voice and Sing focuses on the struggles and aspirations of African Americans, while the U.S. national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, celebrates the defense of the nation during a specific historical event.
Which
So,
obviously the blacks felt bad about, and they wrote a national anthem.
well, actually, the history of it, according to AI, is that originally it was a poem written to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday. It became a symbol of the African American struggle for civil rights, prominently used during the civil rights movement, while the U.S. national anthem was written during the War of 1812, inspired by the defense of Fort McHenry. Um, I'm not saying the Black national anthem is a bad thing, but football traditionally is a celebration of American values, and it does not belong there. Okay, I'm sorry. Pick something else to play it at, but not at the
It
football
may
game.
or it may not, but it's like I said, you're going to tune in and you're going to watch 2 hours of national anthems because everybody in America is going to say, well, if you're playing the Black national anthem and you're playing the national anthem, then you have to play our national anthem.
Yeah.
And if you rotate them in a Super Bowl where you don't play the Black national anthem, you play the Irish national anthem, then you're going to have angry blacks. And that's something that I don't think Roger Goodell is ready to live down. Plus, he looked a little inebriated.
Yeah, he didn't
What
look too.
I saw.
He didn't look too happy.
Well, he looked a little inebriated, number one. But number two, yeah, he didn't look happy because it was obvious that Bad Bunny did include whatever he included in Spanish so that no one could understand it, but he named all these countries. And then he threw in the United States.
I'm sorry, any national event where the focus is on you have these singers and they're there to entertain the masses, the millions of people who watch. From what I understand, that 100 million people watch the halftime. You don't sing songs or whatever in a language that the majority of people don't understand because you don't know what the hell they're saying.
Well, I mean, you can sing whatever you want in whatever language that you want, but everybody has to be on the same page, and everyone has to understand what is going on in the language that you sing it, so that the executive producers of the Super Bowl know and can make the decision whether or not to kill it to the world. And the fans in the stands are going to hear it regardless, but the executive producers have a decision, but they're not going to make a bad decision because they're not going to upset Mr. Goodell and the rest of the NFL. And I've said it, you've said it, Jerry Michaels has said it before too, that the NFL has become commercial to its own and doesn't seem to have the values of the NFL that we grew up on. I mean, maybe it is a good thing to play the Black National Anthem because 3/4 or more of the players are blacks. I don't consider a person born in Chicago, Illinois, to be an African American. I consider them to be an American of African descent. I don't owe them reparations for their being here because if you want to claim that I owe you reparations for being here, I'm a Jewish white American. Maybe I am entitled to the same reparations that you get, and we just can't afford to pay the reparations to everybody. But I also think that a limited federal government is the way to go, and the states make their own decisions on what they want to do, and some states are going to fall in line together and some aren't, depending on the man or woman who is in the White House. And the Democrats haven't proven to me that they're going to do a damn thing that's going to be any different than what they claim the Republicans are doing now. So, move the politics out of the game and return it back to the good old days where you went to watch a football game or you went to the Super Bowl with your kids and you didn't talk politics while you were there. You were there to play football. I mean, football is a very political game, but you didn't talk politics. You played and enjoyed football.
Yeah. I guess they're getting close to something with is it Prince Andrew, the king's brother, because I just saw a flash across my screen saying that they're getting closer. That the police approached the king, say, "Hey, we need to look into starting to investigate your brother. Do we have your support?" Okay, so obviously he said, "Yeah, we will not stand in your way." So they must be getting closer to putting the handcuffs on him.
Okay. Let's scroll that back. Forget about the perp walk with the handcuffs that everybody wants to see. Andrew Mountbatten, who's lost the name Windsor, as far as I know.
He did.
His mother, the Queen, took it away from him because of what happened. So let's give him a chance to come to the United States or some neutral place and tell his side of the story. It may not be as bad as we think it is. It may be worse. If it's worse and it's proven that it's worse, yes, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor deserves to deal with whatever we throw at him.
Well, and I'll be very careful saying this. The article I just read indicates that there are photographs of him butt naked going down on what appears to be a young girl.
But in his defense, I have to respond that photographs can be manufactured.
Right.
So it could have been manufactured. And the one photograph of the masseuse and the gentleman is not Donald Trump, as everybody claims. It's Bill Clinton, and you can clearly see that it's Bill Clinton. So was that photograph manufactured to make it look like it was Bill Clinton? And, I don't want to say this the right way because I don't want to offend anybody in political theater. But Donald Trump at times is not the smartest person in the world in what he says. His heart may be in it, and it may be the right thing to do. But sometimes you don't say, "I'm just going to go and bomb the hell out of Greenland." which he didn't say. But I'm just saying, you don't go and say, I'm going to bomb the hell out of Greenland until they agree to become a state. You know, if the Democrats actually had proof that Donald Trump is as guilty as they make him seem because his name is in the Epstein files, does anybody think that he would still be serving as president now?
Well, it's just like that one picture where it shows him with 4 or 5 females that were supposedly underage. Turns out that he was posing for some modeling ad,
Mm-hmm.
and that these females were actually adults.
I mean, if you read some of the quotes that they attribute to him, yeah, it was probably poor taste if he did actually say, because I was the owner of the pageant, I had a right to go anywhere within the pageant, is kind of not what I want to hear, because I was welcomed into the room that all the ladies got prepared for my oldest son's wedding. But when it became time, they said to me, the stepfather of the groom, they said, it's time for you to leave. And, I understood and I got up and left. But, I don't want to believe Donald Trump said, hey, it's my pageant and I can do whatever I want. But if he did and something happened and it was illegal, then, he shouldn't be president. But everybody in the Epstein files is accused of doing things illegal, whether they did things illegal or not. They all used his plane. They all used his plane. Some things happened on the plane. Some things did not happen on the plane. Some things happened at the island. According to Trump, he's never been to the island. According to Ghislaine Maxwell, he was never at the island for anything illegal. So, but then again, she was moved from a harsher prison to a country club prison by him. So who knows? I just think it's time that they all need to come clean on what they know so far. And those that are guilty of something need to be guilty of something. And those who are not guilty of something need to be shown that they're not guilty of something. They never were guilty of something. And whoever made it look like they were guilty of something needs to be dealt with. Your turn.
So I just saw a news clip. It's kind of like weird how we're talking about Epstein and it all of a sudden comes across my screen.
Okay.
We're being watched, guy.
But everybody.
It was an interview of one of the congressmen, and the interviewer said, "So as we understand it, you went into the skiff room to view the Epstein files. Can you tell us what you saw?" And he said what he saw was 4 computers, a book on how to use them, and 2.6 million documents. He said almost every page was redacted, so it was blacked out. You couldn't see what it was. And he said, I asked the people there, why are these here for us to view? Why are they still redacted? And the response back was because the people who know how to unredact it are not available.
I don't buy that.
So they are hiding.
They are. Both sides are hiding. Both sides are hiding.
You'll never get to the end of it. I don't see how you'll ever get to anyone getting thrown in jail for it.
And if he makes it to the end of the term, he's out. And if they win in 2028, they're going to go after him. They're going to come after him anyway. It's not going to stop just because he's not president. It's not going to stop just because he's not president. But then again, it's not. We're expected to stop on the rest of them, the rest of the Democrats that were involved with it. Uh, Chuck Schumer, like I said, it claims that he gave the money away when he found out it was. There I am. I got kicked off of my own broadcast.
There you go. Yeah, I thought something went dead there.
Yeah, I got kicked off of my own broadcast, but that's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. So, let me switch my iPad. Yeah, so I have some other stuff I want to talk about. Let me get my iPad here. It's kind of weird.
A lot of people want to hear about rinse, wash, repeat, regurgitate politics, but I don't.
It was kind of weird how my wife and I were talking. Earlier you're talking about falling and strapping yourself to your chair and so forth, right?
Well, I don't need to strap myself.
Well, right? No, I'm saying, but
I just add that for
right. I wanted to say something about at that point. I forgot. I said my wife. We have, like I said, 7 cats, and it's amazing how the cats somehow they learn your habits. Okay, so bedtime, dinner time, bathroom time, stuff like that. Somehow they learn, and the one cat, I call her my cat because she loves me more than she loves the rest of the family. Her name is Sonata. So Sonata. I deleted it. No, I didn't. So Sonata knows that approximately what time we eat was 6:30. She knows the sound of the ding on the oven saying that the food's ready to eat, right? So she responds to that. And she knows that Daddy will share some of my dinner with her. So 2 days ago, my wife and I were sitting on the sofa watching TV. I was doing my iPad, still working on genealogy while I'm watching TV. And the stove dinged. My wife got up. The cat got up. As my wife was walking in front of me, the cat ran out in front of her and tripped her. And all I saw was a blur of my wife going down on the floor, right?
Yep.
And it hurt because she was in tears. She had a cut across her brow. She had a sore on her wrist. Her leg hurt, and still sore today.
Yep.
And so yesterday we were talking about her and my both. No, God, no.
We're getting rid of you. And
maybe it's too much together, but no, we're talking about, we're both at an age where, I fall sometimes because my knees buckle because they're weak from 4 surgeries and being old and so forth. Mm-hmm. But I say, Claudia, we don't have life insurance. We have got to get life insurance. And my wife always, Claudia, you're 70, I'm 67. I said, we got to start talking about these things. I've lived another 30 years, but we got to start. So no sooner I say that, my phone rang, and I recognized it as being the military life insurance department. Okay. So I took the phone call, and we talked for a while, and I told him, look, I'm on disability. I have a monthly check, and I'm on a fixed income. So what do you have to offer me? And he looked up some things. He said, well, for a decent funeral in your neck of the woods, it's $15,000. Mm-hmm. So he said, we have a $25,000 policy for $83 a month. I said, well, that sounds pretty good. Yeah. He said, now, if you die walking out and get hit by a car, or if you die falling down the steps, or die falling from something else, it doubles. So I said,
reward levels,
and my wife was the same amount. I said, sign us up. Yeah. So now we have life insurance.
Yeah. I mean, I pay, I think, $65,000 a month. Excuse me, $65 a month, but I'm capped because of my particular disabilities.
Right.
But I didn't want to be a burden on anybody, regardless of how they decide to get rid of. The evidence.
I always see these commercials. I don't want to be a burden to you. Well, you won't know because you're dead.
But you will know, because
Uh,
looking down from heaven, that's exactly what Robin Williams did. He did not want to be a burden on
well,
his family.
well, Robin
And,
Williams had multi-millions of
well,
dollars in the bank.
but that's not the point. He didn't want to become a burden on his family. Maybe his head was messed up.
But by committing suicide, any life insurance policy he had went void. Went void.
But that's okay. He probably had a couple of $1 million in the bank that
I'm
went
sure he
to
had. I'm
that
sure he did.
that went to his wife and his family. But
So
he didn't want to become a burden on
right.
them. I can't imagine becoming a burden on
So
mine. And I've said to Donna many times, whether it's appropriate to say it or not, that when it comes to that time, I hope you put me in a home. But putting me in a home may interfere with the family money,
it
and
does. It does. You know,
and I don't want to do that.
a nursing home. Now you guys rent like I do, but if you owned a home or buying a house,
Well,
okay, and you went into a nursing home, the nursing home will take the
yeah,
deed to your property. They'll
well,
take everything, your bank account, your property, your stocks, your bonds, your life insurance. They take everything.
they
I
will,
think that's
but
bullshit.
they will, but it will be me saying, I don't have anything really that you can take other than my Social Security. And if you take my Social Security, it might affect the family dynamic, and I don't want it to affect the family
Yeah,
dynamic.
yeah. And unfortunately, now uh, my wife's mother, she had a house and she had money. So she went. So when she finally got to the point where she can take care of herself, she went into a very nice Alzheimer's dementia home. Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
They took everything. She was there about 5 years, and the money burned up. So then
Well,
she
they
had her
did.
Social Security. So then she went into a Social Security Medicare
Mhm.
facility, which is
Well,
nasty.
fortunately for my grandmother who had Alzheimer's, it was kind of the opposite. They put her into a place who told him, get rid of get rid of either what you have or what you have as a couple or what she has. Get rid of it. Put it in somebody else's name. We don't want to see it when you roll her up in here. Just like
On,
there are some nice people in the world. They told me, when we talked about Social Security and my income from it as a disabled American, don't write a paycheck to yourself. So pay everybody else, or just launder your receipts through it like every other business owner does, but don't pay yourself. And okay, I won't pay myself.
yeah, unfortunately, here in Pennsylvania, they have what's called a 5 year look back.
Oh yeah.
So if you go into a nursing home, they look back five
Well,
years, and if they see money being transferred to your
yeah.
sons, your grandsons,
Well,
whatever,
yeah, they
they
changed.
will they
I'm
will
sure.
chase that money down
Yeah.
and take it back.
Well, if they go back 5 years, they won't see anything other than what I have. And SSDI is not transferable like regular Social Security is. So, you know,
Uh,
uh,
I mean,
you know,
I'm
which
sorry. I understand. It, no, like I said, she went into a very nice nursing home that had. I mean, the meals they were served were restaurant quality.
yeah,
Uh, I would say this: the staffing sucked. I was
well,
there one time when they had a fire drill. Right,
mhm,
they had like 20 people, 20 patients on the floor to like
yeah,
three tenants. Okay,
mhm,
they had to go find all these women and get them outdoors. They couldn't find one. They had
mhm,
to do an overhead announcement. Does anyone have eyes on blah blah blah? We can't find
mhm.
her. I think to myself, holy shit, your building's on fire and you can't find this one particular person.
Well,
Um,
I hope they found her,
well, they did. They eventually
but
they
I'm
did,
sure
but they're understaffed, and that's
they are.
bullcrap. You know,
They are because they're they are. They just are.
my wife worked at one for like 10 years, and I'm gonna tell you what, I couldn't do that job.
Yeah.
That job is dirty. It's nasty. Uh, she would come home with bruises because they don't know any better, and they strike out, they hit.
Mhm.
I could not do that job, and then anyone who does that job deserves more than what they're being paid. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, so JD Vance went to the Winter Olympics, and oh my God, the people booed him. Hoo hoo hoo.
Well,
Um, unfortunately, politicians, primarily conservative Republicans, take their hat in their hand when they go out in public, expecting everyone to love them because not everyone loves them.
they do.
Um,
But then again, those men and women in Team America uniforms aren't politicians, so they should have stayed out of it and played sports.
did I hear that one of the people for U.S. said something bad that Trump made a comment about him?
I don't know. I heard.
That was
I read one. I don't remember the comment, but I remember a person who claimed to be the coach of the team, and if he was, more power to him. He said, "I'm going to send that person home." So for all I know, it was just a person claiming to be who he was, and I'm going to send that person home. And unfortunately, I don't think you can do that either. You send a person halfway around the world to represent the country, and then you decide you're going to send them home. So I don't know. But politics should not cross into sports again. They have enough on their minds, so leave the politics alone. If they want to be dressed in their own clothes and they want to go outside the bar and they want to speak, then that's okay. I mean, not really, because it's the same thing. I mean, that's what Colin Kaepernick eventually got in trouble for. He started in uniform, then started in his own clothes, and then they just didn't want him. Uh, you know, but I
well,
understand. I'm not going to pay you $5 million a year to talk the opposite way of how I may feel as the owner of the team. Me as the owner of the team, yeah, I have a right to speak however I want to speak. But you as a player on the team, no. You if you signed that you can't do that, you shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, I just read the comment that he made, and I don't see anything really bad about it. He said that there are many aspects of the United States that he likes, but there are some things where you can't voice your thoughts or something like that. I'm thinking to myself, what? How can you say that? You got people in Minnesota right now out there protesting the crap out of Trump and ICE and everybody, and they're allowed to say it, and they're out there by the thousands and -4 degrees. So how can you make a comment that there's certain things you can't, certain ideas
Well,
you can't comment in the United States when they're doing it?
that's what I'm sure they asked him or her, what can't you speak freely about? Because that's the kind of thing that a liberal Democrat press wants. You know, prove to us what you can't speak freely about. Well, you're there to play sports. You're not there to be a politician. Uh, it's different with people that go to an ICE protest somewhere in the United States. They have a right to protest, but I think when you become part of the operation, you kind of give up your right to protest. You don't belong in the center of the operation. And as I've said the last couple of days, if we sent 700 ICE officers to meet 700 statewide legal enforcement officers in to do their job, arrest who they need to arrest with paperwork that shows these people need to be arrested, and that went down, there wouldn't be any reason. I mean, you could still protest it, but you don't get involved in the operation. And yes, pro 2A people, yeah, Alex Preddy had a right to carry a handgun and 2 rounds or two magazines of ammunition with him to protect himself, but I don't think that's what he wanted to do.
I think he went. I think he went there with that gun and 2 magazines to cause problems. So one thing before I have to leave.
Yep.
So Dr. Oz has urged the public to please take the measles vaccine as the measles outbreak is getting worse in the United States.
They have to show me before I take anything measles related.
Well,
they have to show me.
Didn't you get that? Didn't you get that as a baby?
I got the rubella German measles vaccine, I believe, in 1963.
Well, then you're good for life.
And I became infected with it in 1964 because it turned out the batch was bad. And so if they say to me, take the measles vaccine, the first words out of my mouth are, not until you prove to me that you manufactured it correctly. You can't guarantee how it's going to work, but I'm not taking something that you guys knew was not effective and was going to cause problems, because I'm not going to go through that again. My father literally slept in my room at night because I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I just didn't want to be there.
So I was right. So being in the military, and I can't
okay.
See where are you at here? Where's my camera? Boom, boom, there you are.
Okay.
Boom. Okay, these are from when I was a kid. So having these vaccines as a child, you are protected for life. So if you got that shot when you're a little baby, you're good for life. And of course, being my parents, being dutiful, they got all the updates and all the good stuff. So you see how old this thing is. It's falling apart. So it's the people today who are anti-vaccine who are starting to come down with measles. And there are some smallpox outbreaks too.
The problem is when you turn yourself over to the United States military, they have to make sure that everybody stays safe. And I guess they have decided that is with a bunch of shots that you may need to stay safe. So that's how they do it. If they find a better way to do it, then I would hope they would modernize and go with that better way. If they can look at your immunization record and see that you got all the shots and you got all the boosters and you're okay, well, then yes, you should be okay. But if you missed a booster, then they should have to give you the booster.
Nowadays, with the way the government is, it's hard to say that what you're getting is just what you're supposed to be getting,
This is true.
When I was in the military, of course, I had to get all the shots they wanted me to get. And back in the day, it was with the freaking air gun, right? Yeah. And they said, don't move. Don't move.
It didn't matter if you moved because it hurt anyway.
Well, it's not just that. It's just that if you move, when they do the injection, it blows a hole in your skin to put the stuff into your skin. It can have very adverse reactions as far as splitting your skin worse than what it's supposed to.
I remember lining up in school, and they did the same thing. They gave me the shot with the air gun.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, we did Tuesday for those of you that watch it later, because again, I missed Wednesday. We're normally on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern on my Facebook profile and the Boogie with Bull YouTube channel.
Yep.
And Randy Rhodes is generally here when he can. He brings in the news, and I bring in the commentary that may or may not be right. You're welcome to come on to the broadcast and tell me I'm not right and tell me why. But everybody treats everybody with the same respect they expect to be treated with.
And if you take notice, I am trying to grill this out. I got something to put on my face when it gets itchy. Next
Okay?
week I get a haircut, so I'll look a little bit better there. But
You are more than welcome to grow yours. I shaved mine off because I was going to see doctors this week, and I just wanted to look like I'm not the mountain man sitting at home in sweats because they might put me in a home if they saw me. They won't do that. They won't.
there you go. You take care.
All right,
Cheers.
Randy, always a pleasure. All roads lead to home genealogy services. Randy Rhodes, you want to go and see that, find things that you didn't even know about yourself, or maybe confirm some things that you knew already, or you can give him a list of what you want him to look for, and he'll do that. His rates are much lower than other people who do it, and so go talk to him about it. That's about all I can say on that. And I believe on February 28th or 27th, 28th. On February 28th, look for Willow's Craft Corner and Donna Jean Creations teamed up at the Strawberry Festival in Green Cove. No, I got it wrong. It's in Live Oak. Shortly after, there is one in Green Cove that they will be at as well. We'll give you more information on that later. Beautiful crocheted items that you will see. The only one I have on my desk is Cupcake the Eagle. But that's an idea of what they do. But go to their pages, Donna Jean Creations and Willow's Craft Corner. What? Willow's Creative Corner. I guess it changed, and I'm behind the times. Willow's Creative Corner. That's our daughter-in-law, and they make beautiful, 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 beautiful stuff. We have a cat bed that Donna made a long time ago. That if you talk to her about, they can probably make one for you. Really, because that's what they do. Anyway, I think we have said it all for today. Again, we came to Tuesday because I missed Monday because it was time to look at me and check me out with one of my doctors and make sure that life is okay. And it is. I don't understand some things, but where I'm at, I don't understand them anyway. So I try to do my best, and they try to do their best, and Donna tries to do her best, and everybody will get through it. So if you're experiencing the same thing, maybe you will too. You're welcome to come talk about it anytime you want. I joke about it a lot, but I want people to know that I take it seriously. But I do joke about it a lot. And that may be an issue for some. Drusilla DeVita, watch today's Boogie with the Bull. When it says you are watching, you're not in a live chat, either on the YouTube channel or my Facebook page. And I will say something to you, but I won't type something to you because I don't know where you're watching. So anyway, Drusilla, you are welcome anytime to watch. And we'll podcast this and send it out to Streetlock today. I'm not sure where else we're going to send it out. We'll send it over to streetlock.com, a conservative place run by conservatives, and you are able to do a lot of things that you're not allowed to do anywhere else, but you should be allowed to do everywhere. But On that note, we will slide over here and hit this one, and then we will slide over here